Indiana farmers are expecting a record-breaking crop this year, but that won't add up to record-breaking profits. There's such a large volume of corn and soybeans being harvested, farmers are running out of places to put it all. And as Barbara Harrington reports, it's costing more to store the crops than it does to produce them.
The truck traffic at Kokomo Grain Company is constant.
We will process between 400 and 500 trucks a day in a 12 to 14 hour day at this facility.
That can add up to 750,000 bushels of corn and soybeans per day. Indiana and several other Midwestern states are poised to break records with this year's yields. So the grain elevators here are already halfway full, and there's plenty of crops that still have to be harvested.
It's been a kind of an unusual harvest where normally we get corn started early and then beans kick in, but we've had an unusually wet fall, so the beans have been delayed. Normally we've been done with beans for about 2 weeks now, but we're just finishing up beans.
But there's a problem. Room to store the remaining crops is dwindling.
And this automatic truck tracking system will track the truck through the entire elevator, weigh it in, tell it which grain dump to go to.
Some grain elevators are still holding a surplus from last year because the rough winter slowed down and in some cases stopped grain transportation.
Railroad performance this year is substandard to what it should be and what it's been in previous years. So we're not able to ship out the amount of grain this year that we typically do on the rail.
That means farmers and storage facilities have to get creative. So Kokomo Grain Company is trying something they haven't done in decades.
Putting a corn pad out for the first time since 1985 when we had a pad here. So the volumes are really up this year and we're anticipating that, and we're just trying to create more space so we can handle the crop this year.
Others are resorting to a more temporary method of storage, using large plastic bags or converting machine sheds into grain elevators. The Indiana State Department of Agriculture doesn't know yet if the state will run out of storage space before the end of the harvest. If there is a problem, it will likely come with the last 10% of the crop.
I've received some encouraging news these last 2 days. The slow or slower harvest as a result of intermittent rains has, we know, allowed for some grain to get down the Ohio River on barges. Some trains have gotten out.
That may not be enough to free up the space needed over the next few weeks, though. The cost of storing grain is already higher than the cost of producing it. And because there's a big supply of corn and soybeans this year, the prices have been dropping. That combination of factors means farmers could end the year in the red.
It's hard to believe when you get such a big crop that you might be losing money, but with the prices that we may be receiving next year, if there's still more pressure with getting crops into the field and more pressure on our elevators, the basis is going to widen, so the price is going to be going down. So yes, we could be in a situation where farmers are going to be losing some money this year.
Lower prices for grain could translate into steady or declining costs for livestock farmers and consumers of corn-based products, at least in the short term. But it will also likely have a negative impact on farmers in the communities they live in beyond just this year.
We don't want farmers to stay at a below cost of production. Not healthy for our rural communities, certainly for the farmers, for equipment manufacturers, for people who provide inputs to farmers. Just not a healthy setting for rural Americana. So we hope prices come back to some sense of equilibrium, but it's not going to be immediate. It's going to be months, maybe even a couple years.
Some farmers are waiting to harvest a portion of their crops until December or January because values are so low, but harsh winter winds and low temperatures could damage them and cause another financial blow. Farmers could get some relief from their insurance, but the payout will likely be a fraction of their losses.